Alright, y'all, so last day in New Orleans and I'm outside of the Salvation Army family store, so hopefully we can find some good stuff in here, so let's get into it. Alright, y'all, so as soon as I walked in, came across this pair of Allen Edmonds dress shoes, and Allen Edmonds is still a decent brand, but for me it's just not selling as well as it used to. And this particular model, the stock bridge, is basically bringing in just about maybe 30 bucks if you're lucky. It's a ton of them listed, not a ton of sales, which means the sell-through rate is pretty low, and in this condition it just isn't worth it for me to pick up. But still, if you guys can find some Allen Edmonds for a good price, I suggest picking them up. But speaking of not picking stuff up, those shoes were beat, so I don't know why they were even out on the shelf. But came across this pair of Sash shoes, another pair of shoes that I used to sell pretty often. This one was in really good condition. Most Sash shoes that I find usually are pretty good shape. They're just not selling that well anymore either. Drop a comment if you guys are still selling that brand. Here was a pair of Cortez. I think these were $7 or $8. Pretty good condition as well, easy to clean up. This should sell for maybe 40 bucks. Here was a pair of Keen sandals, and I think this was a youth size, and these were in really good shape. Maybe worn once or twice, if that. Keen sandals right now are bringing in close to maybe 35, 40 bucks, especially in this condition. I could easily get at least 40 bucks for this pair of sandals, so definitely going to grab it up. I haven't found too many Keen sandals this season, but they usually sell pretty quick for me during the summer. So this was an interesting find. They had a bunch of these sneakers that were brand new in box, and I believe the brand is pronounced Veja or maybe Veja. It is what it is. I'm not really sure, but I tried to check the comps on this particular model, and they're not bringing in that much profit. If you're lucky, you can probably get maybe 50 bucks for these, but for me, spending 25 and turning to 50 just wouldn't really make sense, especially after fees. And if it was maybe 10 bucks or maybe even if it was maybe 12, I probably would have took a chance on those. But like I said, being out of town, trying to have to ship all those shoes back to myself just wouldn't make any sense. And the thing is, with some of these big bulky items, I try not to sell these types of stuff only because it can be a headache when it's time to ship it out, trying to find the right box. But these type of items could bring in, a decent amount of profit. This particular model was selling for about 100 bucks, but I ended up passing on that for obvious reasons. Here was a buzz time. I thought this was something that might have been valuable. Ended up dropping it anyway. But this was a buzz time trivia game cartridge, and these were selling for like 10 to 15 bucks, so ended up passing on that one as well. And came across a Thomas Pink shirt. I used to sell these pretty often, but this brand has definitely fell off. And these Brooks Brothers shirts, not to say they don't sell, but once again, they're super flooded online right now, especially on eBay. And Peter Millar, Tommy Bahama, all brands that used to sell pretty well on eBay, especially Vineyard Vines. This was a really strong brand a couple years ago as well, but this brand definitely fell off, at least in my opinion. But here was a brand that people are actually starting to pick up a lot of in the past, maybe the last year or two. Carhartt, definitely way more popular than it's ever been. A shirt like this, I'm not going to say this is probably going to bring in a ton of profit, but still a good brand to be on the lookout for. So this was my first time coming across this brand in any thrift stores, but it just maybe 2 years too late. I remember when this brand was really popping and everybody wanted these jeans. You could probably sell these for maybe 70 to 80 bucks, sometimes even a little more than retail, but now they're selling for just about maybe 30, maybe 40 bucks if you're lucky. So not a bad brand to be on the lookout for, but like I said, it just kind of fell off over the past couple of years. So decided to stop at another thrift store while we were on our way to the airport. I don't remember the name of this thrift store, but like I said, it was literally on the same street back to the airport. This brand, Austin Reed, I usually don't pick this one up, but this jacket just stood out to me in terms of the color, but I wouldn't pick something like that up, honestly. Next came up on this Brooks Brothers piece, and Brooks Brothers is another one of those brands that, not to say it doesn't sell, but it's just super oversaturated online, so it might sell, but of course it'll take a while. 10 bucks for that jacket, pretty decent price, so in my opinion, it might be worth to pick that one up. Here was this J Press jacket, and this was actually the presidential, I guess you could call it the presidential model. The comps on these were pretty strong as well. Put them up here on the screen for you guys. Only 10 bucks for that, so that was definitely worth it in my opinion. Here was another J Press jacket, and these J Press pieces, I used to sell this brand pretty often, so it was kind of refreshing to see it again. But J Press is definitely one of those brands that holds its value a little better than some of those other older, I guess you can call it like Americana brands. Here's another one of those Brooks Brothers jackets, the 1818 Fitzgerald. Still brings in a decent amount of profit, maybe 40 to 50 bucks. Once again, you might have to wait a while, but I suggest probably putting stuff like that on a mannequin and really dressing it up to kind of demand a higher price. This was probably one of the most interesting finds that I came across during my whole time here in New Orleans. So I thought this was just a regular, kind of one of those made-to-measure brands. But once I seen it said Drew Holiday on the inside, I instantly knew it. There's only one Drew Holiday, especially considering the fact how the name was spelled and the fact that he used to actually play for the New Orleans Pelicans before he got traded to Milwaukee. So he actually just won his first chip. And it was kind of dope coming across one of his jackets in the thrift store. He's definitely not one of the NBA's biggest stars, but coming across an NBA player's jacket is definitely a really good find. To be honest with you guys, I ended up just passing on this jacket because the overall construction and the quality of it really wasn't that high. So I doubt it would have much of a resale value to this. But like I said before, still a nice find. But drop a comment if you guys would have picked it up just because it was Drew Holiday's jacket. So ended up checking out some of these shirts, and I found a bunch of these J Press shirts, and I was really glad because since I'm out of town, these are the type of stuff I could actually bring back with me with it not being too heavy or too big for my luggage. But this J Press shirt was, they said it was new. I didn't see any tags on it, but once I looked under the collar, they still had some of the original packaging to it. And as you guys can see, some of these J Press shirts sell anywhere between maybe 30, depending on the style, maybe get a little more than that. So I ended up grabbing up that shirt. Here was a Brooks Brothers shirt, brand new with tags. They were asking 10 bucks for this one, and this is honestly probably a $30, maybe $35 shirt. Probably closer to 30 since there's so many online. But they had a bunch of brand new Brooks Brothers shirts here, so ended up taking a chance on a couple of them. Some were brand new with tags, some didn't have the tags, and they still said it was new. But the ones that were actually brand new with the tags, I just grabbed those up. Even though the retail price was like 70, 80 bucks, I usually know Brooks Brothers shirts, you can get them way cheaper at outlets. So just decided to grab up just a couple of them. But the J Press shirts, definitely had to grab those up. This one was a vintage Brooks Brothers shirt just based on the tags. And this one might be able to sell maybe closer to 30, maybe 35 bucks. So I'll take a chance on that one as well. And here was another J Press shirt in really good condition, not brand new, but for $6, I definitely had to take a chance on that. So the shoes at this spot were really, really bad. They didn't have anything good, just a bunch of dress shoes and no real high-end brands in here either. Came across some more Keen sandals, but these were in really, really rough shape. Then they had another pair on the other end of the store that was also pretty rough, so I ended up just passing on those. And I seen the tag on this one that said Gore-Tex, so I had to give it a second glance, only because most shoes with Gore-Tex branding usually sells for a little more profit. But Johnson & Murphy is one of those brands that I tend to pass on pretty often. So I decided to look at some of the games before I left, but I didn't see any good titles in here. But drop a comment if you guys see anything worthwhile. But stay tuned for some more videos because I'm back in Arizona and I'm going to have some more trip to the thrifts on the way.
For the winner, cause you felt like you was losing, only for the winner. Move just to keep from cooling, like only for the winner, only for the winner, only for the winner. Boy, my heart is cold, and I'm too cool to sweat it. I should've never offered it. I'm tight and now I'm off this shit.